Hey scrappers, if you're looking to figure out what materials you should sell this week or hold this week, now is the time to do it. Our weekly report is going to give you that information, up-to-date market news, pricing. Let's get right into it and we'll talk about it inside. Hey scrappers, my name is Tom from Rockaway Recycling and the iScrap app, and today is Wednesday, February 26th, 2025. Can't believe that 2 months of the year is almost over already. We will be recording live next week on Wednesday. I've just been traveling a little bit for work, so we're doing this pre-recorded. But I do have good news, and it seems like a lot of good scrap news has been coming out. And while people are going to be upset about the tariffs, they certainly are causing scrap prices to go up. So let's just jump right into things. Yesterday, I looked at copper prices. Okay, so I'm looking at copper prices, and just let me hold on. Before I get in there, please don't forget we have not only our weekly videos that we post, but if you're a YouTube member and you become a member of our page, you're going to get videos released to you early throughout the month. We have lots of member-only videos that go out to people, as well as getting market news and different tips on how to make more money. So please, if you haven't joined, please do so today. But let's jump right into those copper prices. Yesterday, copper prices were funny. They were a little even, a little down. Last week and a half or so, they've been down maybe 10 cents. But why? Why are they going down? What's going on? So I'm looking at the markets yesterday. It's like 4 o'clock. Kind of Eastern time, looking at them. All right, markets are strong, down a little bit today. And out of nowhere, copper prices go up 19 cents per pound. Now you can see in this picture that they're up 10 cents per pound, but what happened over that 20-minute period that caused prices to go up so quickly? President Trump announced that he was seriously considering implementing tariffs on all copper imports. Now, the last number that I heard a few weeks ago was a potential of 12%. That's what caused the markets to go from 430 up to 480. They came back down. Now they're up a little bit today. But what's going to happen with these tariffs? Well, if it costs 12.5% to import copper, that's a lot of money that could be pressed on. They're trying to keep more of these metals inside of the United States to become less reliant on outside countries, buoy further economic growth, be able to give factories more product instead of exporting it to countries like China, India, different areas of Taiwan. So when we export our materials, then we need to buy these things back at these different premiums. Now, in the past, one of the things that happened is other countries' labor pools, their labor was much cheaper. So if we sell these metals out, they sell them back to us because their labor is cheaper, right? The cost of metal, even if we do have to pay a little more, kind of gets offset by the labor. Well, as labor has crept up in other countries, as tariffs have now been implemented in other countries, this should cause a little bit of a disruption for a while. And I think it's going to cause a positive upward swing price disruption, because when you already have tariffs on aluminum, steel, and now the potential of copper, and that's on top of other types of alloys that they're looking to do. So it's going to be really interesting to see how that's going to happen and how it's going to shake out. I think that copper prices are still going to come back a little bit. I think some companies' earnings are not going to be as good as they think. But for right now, I have a very strong sell recommendation on all copper products and really all metals right now. There's nothing that I would suggest holding. We've talked about stainless in the past. That's just kind of fizzled itself out. But right now, I recommend if you're holding something, get rid of it. I mean, is there an upside of 30 to 40 cents for copper? Sure. Is there an upside of 5 to 10 cents for aluminum? Absolutely, right? But that's like anything. You want to hold something long enough, the value should go up, but spend that money and be able to go move more things for your other scrap products. So a couple of pieces of news, and we'll talk about aluminum for a second. Let me just read this. The U.S. is discarding a major opportunity by not recycling more aluminum. A push towards a 75% aluminum recycling rate could reshape the industry's reliance on imports while reducing the need for protective tariffs. And that's from Recycling Today. So what we're starting to see happening is people are starting to talk about the aluminum tariffs, the steel tariffs, the copper tariffs, the metal tariffs, and they're starting to correlate it with how better recycling procedures in the country could help. So that's a good thing, right? The more material that we recycle inside of the country, the more things that stay here, that creates long-term growth, long-term price stability, and also gives us the ability to trade inside of the country, become less reliant outside of the country, and further spur economic growth here. So those are good things, right? But of course, these things don't happen with the light switch. If you just like open your case and close it, right? It doesn't work like that. These things are going to go through growing pain periods. But what we've seen so far is prices have gone up because of the tariffs. I don't know if that's going to last forever, but I don't know. We'll see what happened. The 25% tariff on imported aluminum and steel, which is supposed to go into effect on March 12th, could drive demand for domestic metals like baled cans, steel, increase commodity prices. While other domestic metal prices may rise initially, broader economic impacts such as manufacturing slowdowns could reduce demand for recycling over time. And that's from Resource Recycling. And this is true, right? Think about it. If we have less material flowing into the country and we have less material maybe flowing out of the country and things are staying here, the tariffs could increase and then decrease the prices because you're going to start to see a trade balance working its way out over the coming months. Think about 3 years ago when Russia invaded Ukraine, right? Ukraine. What do we see happen to precious metals, gold, copper, aluminum, palladium, platinum? Up, real fast, right? Really fast. If you look at March, April, May of 2022, it was banana sauce, right? And now everything came back down. So this might be what we're going to see with these tariffs. We might see a quick price increase followed by things leveling themselves off and then kind of moving forward at a status quo. But, it's still some of the things that we're looking for. And it would be very reckless of me not to talk about this mineral deal that's happening between the United States and Ukraine. I'll mention it briefly because how it's going to affect your scrap prices isn't going to be so crazy. But it looks like the United States and Ukraine are signing a mineral deal tomorrow. Not tomorrow, on Friday, the 28th. If that happens, then we're going to see the United States having more rare earth alloys and minerals dedicated to us. That's a positive, right? But what I want to talk about with the tariffs, with the agreement here, is the potential ending of the Ukrainian war. What that impact could have on the metals market is going to be something that we're going to talk about in the future. But we're starting to see these positive domino blocks lining up, which could eliminate wars, but it will affect metal prices. So we'll continue to watch these things. Now, I haven't talked about steel prices today, but steel prices, again, if you've checked the iScrap app and some of the reported prices, steel prices have been going up. And if you don't report your prices, don't forget to report them through the iScrap app. Super easy to do. But by checking some of these things out, you're going to see steel pricing has gone up a considerable amount this month. I don't see much upside in March, maybe 10 to 20 per ton. But overall, to see a $50 ton year-to-date increase across the board, that's a really positive thing. And I do attribute that to the tariffs. Do I think that the pricing is going to go down this year? No, I think that we're establishing a new norm because pricing was substantially lower than it should have been. So when I look at steel prices, I don't hold anything, right? I've told you this isn't news, but you look at it, you're like, oh my gosh, how do you only pay like $120 a ton, $100 for light iron? The prices are just so low, it became really tough. So these are going to be things that we're going to be watching. I'm not overly optimistic that steel is going to have a resurgence to like 400 a ton, but I do think we could see light iron go another 30 to 40 a ton higher this year. So that would be good. That would be good. Um, some questions that we've had over the last few weeks. We had our Q&A session last weekend, but I'm going to start with one. Do scrapyards take old LCD TVs? What material is in it that scrapyards are interested in? Now, most scrapyards do not take the LCD TVs, but the two primary things that you would be interested inside of them would be the copper wires or the circuit board that powers the TV, because it's going to be a smart board, most likely with Wi-Fi access. Those are the two things, but a lot of scrapyards don't want to deal with LCDs or any type of monitors, so you really want to make sure that your yard does take them before you show up. How about high price melts, converters from cars and trucks? What are these? So high price melts, that's more like a catalytic converter is how I'm taking this question. So we didn't talk about catalytic converter pricing, but that would be a high price melt item: platinum, palladium, rhodium, barium. So these are, of course, the things that help keep pollution out of the air. These are things that help capture the CO2 from the cars. Catalytic converter prices were at some of its lowest points yesterday, around 3:30, 4 o'clock. And as soon as that tariff was introduced by Trump with some copper and some other metals, we saw a bunch of increases on the catalytic converter side. So check out the team over rrcats.com today. Will carbide and rare earth metals be affected by tariffs similarly to copper and aluminum? The answer is a resounding yes. Once you have tariffs on a group of metals, aluminum, steel, right, there's a domino or a residual effect, because things like zinc are going to be needed to be coated on the galvanized steel. So there's going to be a lot of things that are going to be needed for these markets. So those are some of the things that we're going to be looking at. So carbide, rare earth, anything that could be bolstered by less of it going out of the country, right? That's going to help the prices. So I do expect to see a variety of pricing going up over the next few weeks and few months. But again, you're going to have tumultuous markets. You have a president that came in, right? And you're shaking things up. So you have to see how markets are going to react. And we don't know what that's going to look like. So it's just going to be interesting. Another question, can you discuss the spread when buying and selling to mills? So this is hard to do because different scrapyards have different profit margins. But generally what happens is this: a scrapyard has a good relationship with a steel mill and tells them, hey, I'd like to take out an order this month for 200 tons of HMS1, 100 tons of PNS, 200 tons of shred. Okay, so that they agree to a price. An order is issued at the beginning of the month, and this scrapyard now has 30 days, we'll call an average month, 30 days to be able to fill those different orders at those pricing. So what you see with scrapyards very often is they set their prices towards the beginning week or two of the month, once some of their contracts settle from the previous month, and then they set their contracts for this month. Then they set their prices from there. I'm not going to talk about how you set your prices because everyone has different swings in their profits, because some people have further distances. Some people want to make more money. Some scrapyards don't even sell directly to steel mills. Like myself, I sell to steel mills only when I have a very set product from a certain job. I generally sell to other processors, and that's what about 90% of the scrapyards in the country do. They sell to larger processors because they want to flip their money. They're not looking to save 300, 400, 500 tons, but you have the 10% of those processors that are probably producing 70% of the steel because they're buying it from so many other guys. So when they have their contracts, that's generally how things get themselves sorted out. We have a few other questions that we'll talk about next week, and hopefully we'll get some live questions out there. But please join our YouTube member page. By becoming a YouTube member, you're going to get videos pushed out to you, before anyone else. You can ask us questions. We'll make videos for you to help you learn about how to make more money on your scrap. You get early access to all these different videos, so please do that. Don't forget to report your prices and let us know if there's something that we can do better. We don't know what to do unless you tell us what we can help you improve on, but please report your prices. That's going to be a great way to start. So scrappers, today is February 26th, 2025. I appreciate you tuning in. I promise next week we will be live again so we can do some live Q&A questions. I miss getting those in. But until next week, my name is Tom from the iScrap app.